Long, long ago, on an island in the sea, lived a family of 7 sisters. The oldest girl ruled the household, and her sisters obeyed her commands. Flora, the youngest sister, was sent to the forest each day to gather wood for the kitchen fire. Near the edge of the forest was a cave under some rocks. A stream of water fell over the rocks into a basin in the cave. This was a delightfully cool spot, and Flora often rested here on her way home after gathering wood in the forest. She would lie on the mossy bank of the stream for hours and drink. One morning, as Flora ran along the grassy path that led to the cave, she saw a little fish in the stream. Its scales flashed all the colors of the rainbow. "I am going to keep the fish for a pet," said the girl to herself. "I will call him Rainbow." So she caught the pretty fish and put him into the basin in the cave. The next day, Flora went to the forest for wood. She carried some crumbs of bread which she had saved from her breakfast. On the way home, she stopped at the cave. The fish was waiting for her. He came to the edge of the basin and she fed the crumbs to him. How delighted the girl was! She had been so lonely, and now she had a friend. Every morning, instead of eating the bread which her sister gave to her, Flora would save it and feed the crumbs to her pet. The fish would leap to catch them. "Here are some crumbs, Rainbow," she would say. "This is all today, but I will come again tomorrow." Then she would sing a little song. Flora began to grow thin, and her sisters wondered what could be the matter. One day, the oldest sister followed her to the cave and saw her feed the crumbs of bread to the fish. While Flora was away in the forest, the oldest sister caught the fish, carried him home, and baked him for supper. The bones were buried under the kitchen fire. The next morning, Flora went to the cave as usual, but no fish was there. She sang her little song, and he still did not come. "Rainbow cannot be dead," she said, "for I do not see him in the water." Then Flora hastened home. She threw herself upon her bed and was soon fast asleep. The following morning, a rooster flew up to Flora's window and crowed, "Cock-a-doodle-doo! The bones of Rainbow wait for you under the kitchen fire too." Flora arose at once and went downstairs. There under the kitchen fire, she found the bones of her pet. She wept as she gathered the bones and placed them in a box. She went to the forest and buried the box near the cave. Then Flora sat down on a mossy bank near the cave and sang his song. "Rainbow, rainbow, hear my cry. My great wish do not deny. If you can come back to me, pray, oh pray, become a tree." As the last words of the song echoed through the cave, there sprang up a wonderful fairy tree beside the girl. Its trunk was of ivory, its leaves were of silver fringed with pearls, its flowers were gold, and its fruits gemmed from which sparkled the bright colors of the rainbow. One day, the summer breeze carried a leaf from the fairy tree across the sea to another island. It fell at the feet of the king. He picked up the wonderful leaf and said, "I shall never rest until I find the tree from which this leaf came." The king set sail with his attendants. He soon landed on the island where the 7 sisters lived. As the king and his men were marching through the forest, they found the fairy tree growing at the entrance to the cave. The king tried to pick some of the leaves, but he could not. Then he heard a sweet voice of a girl. She was singing, "Rainbow, rainbow, speak to me. Bend your branches, fairy tree. And Flora came tripping along the grassy path that led to the cave. The king said, "Fair maiden, if you can pick a leaf or a flower from this tree, you shall be my queen." As Flora reached to pick a flower, the tree bowed low, and every leaf trembled with delight. The maiden at once presented the flower to the king. As he took the flower, the king exclaimed, "To you belongs the fairy tree. Pray be my bride and rule with me." Flora thought she must be dreaming, but they were married the next day beneath the branches of the fairy tree.
The Fairy Tree. A long time ago, there was a family of 7 sisters who lived in an island. The eldest sister ruled the household, and Flora, who was the youngest, was sent to the forest each day to gather wood. Near the edge of the forest was a cave, with water forming a basin inside. It was a very beautiful place. One morning, Flora found a very colorful fish in the stream and decided to make it her pet. She called it Rainbow and placed it into the basin in the cave. Every morning, she would save her breath to feed the fish. She grew a little thinner each day, and her sisters wondered why. One day, the eldest sister followed her and found out that Flora was feeding the fish in the cave instead of eating her breakfast. While Flora was away, the eldest sister took the fish home, baked it, and buried the bones in the kitchen. When Flora went to the cave the next morning, Rainbow was not there anymore. She went home lonely and slept. The next morning, the rooster came to her window and cuckooed about where Rainbow could be. Flora found the bones of the fish in the kitchen and was very sad as she placed the bones in the box. She went to the forest to bury it near the cave. She sang her song for Rainbow, wishing he could become a tree. Her last words echoed in the forest, and a colorful tree grew beside her. The tree was very wonderful. The trunk was ivory, leaves of silver and pearls, flowers of gold, and fruit gems that sparkled like rainbow. One day, a leaf was carried by the breeze to another island, and a king picked it up. The king set sail to look for the tree. He finally reached the island where the 7 sisters lived. He soon found the fairy tree and heard the voice of Flora singing. The king said that if she could give him a leaf or a flower from the fairy tree, she would become queen. So Flora picked a flower as the tree bowed down. It was just like a dream, but the king married her beneath the fairy tree.
And now let us have the question and answer portion for the story The Fairy Tree. What is the name of the fish? Letter A, Rambo. Letter B, Rainbow. Letter C, Randy.
The name of the fish is Rainbow.
Who is the youngest sister? Letter A, Flora. Letter B, Fiona. Letter C, Fairy.
The youngest sister is Flora.
An island is blank. Letter A, surrounded with soil. Letter B, surrounded with rocks. Letter C, surrounded with water.
An island is surrounded with water.
The fish would leap to catch them. The synonym of leap is blank. A, hop. B, run. C, walk.
The synonym of leap is hop.
She caught the pretty fish and put him into the basin in the cave. What does the word basin mean in the sentence? A, box. B. Bowl, C. Plate.
The word basin means letter B, bowl.
Why do you think Flora was so lonely at the start of the story?
Flora was sad at the start of the story because she had no friends.